we have a caller who is a theist whose name is Dave, he, him, from India. And Dave is going to talk to us about how metaphysical reality points toward a God. All right, Dave, tell us about your thoughts on metaphysical reality and God.
Hey, mic check.
Hi, I think I could hear my own voice in the background. So if you have anything like the show playing in the background, if you could mute it, that would be awesome. But I think I can hear you,
I don't have anything.
Okay, cool.
I have nothing in the background.
Great. So go ahead and tell us what's going on.
I just wanted to say that there are certain books for astral projections, astral travels, and there are a lot of people who claim to have achieved that kind of experience. So I just wanted to say that that experience might point towards the God.
Well, the word claim is big, bold, fiery letters in that sentence. They claim to have done it. Can they actually demonstrate it under controlled conditions?
Do you have a response to that, Dave?
The experience can be developed. Sorry, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry. I just didn't know if you keep going.
You can quantify the experience. You can measure the blood pressure levels. You can measure the heartbeat. You can measure different kinds of things to quantify the experience. And once everyone is in the same state, they will have the same experience, and then we can get the metrics in the same way. So, but obviously, yeah. So in those scenarios, I would say.
So, I mean, yes, we can see that they're having an experience. I mean, I have an experience when I try and walk upstairs too quick. But it's the astral projection part that I'm talking about. Like you can hook them up to an EEG and see the brainwave patterns, things, but it's the same in just secular meditation. You can achieve certain brain states and body states through breathing control and mindfulness. There's nothing mystic or supernatural about it. You've got to prove the supernatural. You've got to demonstrate the supernatural aspect. Can you do that?
Yeah, so I would say two parts to it. The first part is that when we go to like Six Flags and you go to some kind of ride, the experience you get when you're coming down or going up, all of a sudden, the feeling that you get, that is very similar to the experience that I'm talking about. So in that sense, it's quantifiable.
There are still other ways to achieve it, though.
Does that sound good? No.
I understand what you're saying. I think there's just so many other ways to achieve that aren't actual astral projection. Our brains can do a whole lot. Like, what do we... if we hear something or someone talk about something, we can become emotional, right? And it will actually change our physical state just from hearing somebody talk about something passionately. If you're sitting and listening to music and that music is emotional, it might even give you goosebumps if somebody hits a particular note, and it's changing your physical state. And that can be in a really dramatic way. So I look at it and I'm like, all right, people are claiming they astral projected. We have a lot of evidence that folks can have experiences that seem like or feel like they're astral projecting when they aren't doing anything that is inexplicable. They are putting themselves in a maybe trance-like state on purpose or through meditation in some way. Why would it be more likely that would be proof of a God or even a metaphysical realm than that they're doing these things that we know are physically possible?
Okay, we gotta hold on. That's too much information for me on one time. I'm not a debater or something like that. So, I just want to say the first thing, which I think they said is that the supernatural part. So I agree, there is nothing supernatural to it. And the second part, which you are saying, is that you can feel the goosebumps with the music, and then you can people claim that they have a supernatural, but it's just a meditative state. So I do agree to that, and that's where I'm stuck up to. That is exactly what I realized too. But the thing is, there are so many people in my country who claim to have gone all the way. So they know that the path is much longer than what I have already covered. So whatever we are talking about is like base level things. And there are much advanced things which can be achieved if you keep practicing it for a longer period of time with due diligence and the correct information.
I mean, a lot of people in my country claim that they speak in tongues and really honestly believe it and have entire complex, feelings about things that they've encountered or communicated when they do so. We're sort of just saying a lot of people said so maybe it's true. And that doesn't seem like a very strong argument to me.
It is, in fact, a fallacy. The appeal to majority or whatever the name of it is. But here, let's take a different tack then, David. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that you can prove that astral projection actually is a real phenomenon, that a person can leave their physical body and have experiences outside it in some kind of incorporeal form, be it distance viewing or hearing conversations far away or even communicating with other people telepathically. I still don't see how that proves anything other than that astral projection is a phenomena in the world and therefore likely has a natural explanation, and doesn't really get you any further to God, because there's plenty of things that have been ascribed to God that we have found to be natural. Like back in the day, lightning came from the gods, but I can set up a Van de Graaff generator and make lightning in my own home if I was bonkers enough. So what do you say to that? How does astral projection, even if it was real, prove a God?
So the degrees of freedom are just increasing day by day. We are getting more and more degrees of freedom. You are much older than me. You are much wiser than me. You have lived in a much advanced country than me. You have much better information than me. So that's what I'm saying, that the degrees of freedom are just increasing. So if they keep increasing in the same way, ultimately we'll reach a point where everything will just be magic.
So it seems like the argument here is that because culture changes and we learn new things maybe about science or technology or the world around us scientifically, that maybe that happens spiritually as well. Is that kind of what we're going with?
I would say so, yeah. The culture will change. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that.
I don't know that that's a parallel that I can quite get on board with here, because we could also say that I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good analogy, because that was a little out of left field feeling, I feel like.
Yeah, you're still going for gold in those non sequitur Olympics there, Dave. I mean, you just speared off into talking about we are becoming more free. I don't exactly know what you meant by that, even after you tried to explain it. My question actually was, if astral projection is real, how does it prove a God? And you said we are becoming more free. That makes zero sense. So do you actually have any kind of explanation as to how, even if it was real, astral projection would indicate a God?
So the thing is, just look at the history that we have had. It is filled with blood being shed all across. And even today, if you go to the forests or jungles, you will see that kind of animosity and that kind of vibe.
Dave, stop.
Yeah.
You've just completely failed to answer my question twice, and you've gone on and on sequitur twice. I'm going to do it one more time, and then I'm going to give up. And then, Sofia, you can do whatever you like. If astral projection was real, tell me how that would indicate that a God is real, as you claim.
Because if you go back a few years, they were completely denying these experiences blatantly.
Okay.
now
I'm already
So-
giving you
give
that
some
astral
kind of-
projection is real, Dave. You're really starting to get me on my edge now, so I'm gonna calm down and
Yeah.
let Sophia take over.
So hey, Dave. I'm dropping you, but I'm gonna kind of finish this really quick address. I think I see a bit of what you're trying to go toward, which is that maybe we can sort of evolve as spiritual beings, so astral projection would eventually lead to a god. That sounds like a fantasy story to me. I also want to point out that when we talk about culture advancing or things like that, we're starting to hedge. We're like a sneeze away from eugenics, basically. We're almost saying things like, well, this culture is superior or better. And there were times in history we knew less about science, that we knew, less about how to, make sure people don't die of bacterial infection. And those are good things. But I think to say that a culture is inherently like better or more advanced in some sort of human way, are we more compassionate? Are we more empathetic? I would actually argue that's possibly the opposite. So I think I am going to challenge that idea of cultures being able to be put on some ranking scale in the same way that scientific discoveries can be built upon. It doesn't really work that way. Culture changes, but not always for the better. And that's kind of a strange assumption to be making, I think, or one that can lead very quickly into saying that a people is superior to another people. And I don't think that's true. And I'm kind of reject that pretty outright. Jamie, how you doing?
Apologies for losing my shit there. Very unbecoming, but it's incredibly frustrating where I'm like, I'm going to grant you the thing. I'm going to give you all the toys. Astral projection's real. Fine. Fuck it. Great. How does that lead us to God? And 3 times he just completely just goes off on a tangent. And he's done it in previous calls. He's called him before, and it's always the same. You ask him a direct question, and he just goes off on some baffling tangent. And I'm like, can you just answer my damn question? So frustrating. Meh.
Yeah.